I read Steven Pressfield's The War of Art yesterday, and it gave me one hell of a kick up the backside. It's based around this idea that we all live two lives. The life that we live and the life within us. So for me, the life that I'm living is as a data analyst with a 9-to-5 job. And the life that is within me is as a YouTuber. Steven says that the one thing that stops us from leading the life that we want is resistance. And goes on to say that there's a secret that real writers know that wannabe writers don't. And the secret is this. It's not the writing part that's actually hard. What's hard is sitting down to write. And what keeps us from sitting down is resistance. And he says that resistance is evil and the most toxic force on this planet, which is super strong, but it sounds like he clearly really hates resistance. But I'm reading this and I'm thinking, damn, yes, I am always resisting. My brain is simultaneously telling me to go and do some work and to keep watching things on Netflix. And I'm always going to pick the easy option. I'm lazy as. Which also touches on short-term versus long-term gratification, but we will come back to that. Basically, resistance is kicking my ass, but this book might be just what I need to fight back. The way Steven talks about resistance makes me feel like I'm Harry Potter and resistance is Voldemort, which would make Steven Professor Dumbledore.
Bhav, this is Professor Pressfield. I've come to warn you that you are facing your biggest enemy yet. It is the most evil force you will encounter. It is so very cunning. It is invisible, so you won't see it coming. It cannot be reasoned with, and it has only one goal: to stop you from putting the work in. It will do whatever it can to stop this from happening, playing until the death. It never sleeps, so this will be a constant battle you must face daily. The consequence of not defeating resistance will be self-sabotage. Beware as it recruits allies, others around you who are also succumbing to its will, to bring you down. And its most powerful attack will come just before the finish line, just before you think you are about to win. Sensing defeat, it will throw everything it has against you in one final, all-out attack. But there is hope. You see, resistance is internal. It comes from within you. It has no strength of its own. It is fueled by your fear, which means if you master your fear, you will conquer resistance. Go forth and master your fear. Defeat the evil and banish it from your life. Never forget, this very moment, you can change your life. There never was a moment, and never will be, when you are without the power to alter your destiny. This second, you can turn the tables on resistance.
Yeah, screw you, resistance. I'm coming for you. Tell me what I need to do, Professor. Professor? Back to the book then, I guess. Steven says that overcoming resistance comes down to one thing. Are you an amateur or a pro? Amateurs play for fun. They're part-timers, weekend warriors. But pros, they play for keeps. They're full-timers. They are 7-day-a-weekers. Until now, I wouldn't have called myself a pro. But Steven's saying that that's not the case. I could be a pro right now. And calling myself a pro sounds, well, more pro. It also makes me feel more accountable and like I want to do more. After all, it was deciding to treat my YouTube channel more seriously in the first place that got me off my ass and making videos. It became less about being a side hustle and we'll see how it goes, and much more of a, this is serious, the more work I put in now, the more rewards I will reap later. So, as a pro YouTuber, I need to show up just like it was my day job. Somerset Maugham says, I write only when inspiration strikes. Fortunately, it strikes every morning at 9 o'clock sharp. Now, the bit that really got me in the book was when he started talking about the fact that we're all pros already. I'm already a pro at my day job. I already work for money. I show up to my job every single day. And I don't just decide on some days that I can't be bothered or I'm not feeling it and shut down. I stay on that job. Okay, I might not be 100% focused all day, but I don't just walk away. I've accepted that this is a long-term deal and I've committed to it. Over time, I'm mastering the techniques of the job. When I first started, I didn't think, oh my God, this is way too hard. I'm going to quit after just a few days. I knew that it was going to take time to learn the job and I kept showing up. So why am I thinking of YouTube any differently? Obviously it's going to have its ups and downs, but that doesn't mean I should just quit. I've committed to this job and I fully intend to keep showing up every day and keep putting a video out every week. Over time, I'm going to get better and learn from those who have done the job before me and those that are doing the job now. Also, going back to what I was saying earlier about short-term versus long-term gratification, Netflix being my short-term gratification and doing work being my long-term gratification, being that it would take me towards my unlived life. The idea is that a pro knows how to conserve its energy because it understands long-term gratification.
You must be the ant, not the grasshopper. The tortoise, not the hare.
Oh, look who's back.
Young Bhav, You must treat your work like your craft, not like art. If you overthink it, it will paralyze you. Focus on the technique and dedicate yourself to mastering it. Do not take failure or success personally. Your work is not you, it is just your work. An amateur thinks they have to overcome fear in order to start. A professional knows that fear cannot be overcome. There is no mystery in turning pro. It is a decision brought about by an act of will. We make up our minds to view ourselves as pros, and we do it. It is as simple as that. And if you cave in today, no matter how reasonable the excuse, you will be twice as likely to cave in tomorrow. Remember, it is better to be in the arena, getting stomped by the bull, than to be up in the stands or out in the parking lot.
Totally agree, Professor, except for the being stomped by bulls bit. That doesn't sound fun. And Stephen made a really good point about people who second guess their audience, or at least try to. When they sit down to work, they don't ask themselves, hey, what do I want to work on? They're asking themselves, what does the market want? They're just doing things to impress others. And if it was just them alone on this planet, they wouldn't do the work because there'd be no one to impress. On the flip side, you've got people who genuinely enjoy what they do, and they would carry on working even if there was no one else around to see it. Stephen says that the sustenance they get comes from the act itself, not the impression it makes on others. Take Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example. If he were the last man on Earth, he'd probably still want to work out. He's not doing it for anyone else but himself. And I think I've been struggling with this lately. It's so easy to get caught up in numbers and analytics, especially as an analyst. So my advice to myself is to shut up and carry on working. The other point I really liked was around looking for validation and the opinion of others, which I am super guilty of. I think he loves Arnold because here's another example about him. He says that if Arnold was having a bad day, he wouldn't phone his friends, he'd head for the gym. He wouldn't care if the place was empty, if he didn't say a word to anybody. He knows that working out, even if it's by himself, is enough to bring him back to the centre. By the way, I have no idea how he knows this. Stalker alert. Pros don't let resistance faze them. They just sit down and work, no matter what. Stephen says, the artist committing himself to his calling has volunteered for hell, whether he knows it or not. He will be dining for the duration on a diet of isolation, rejection, self-doubt, despair, ridicule, contempt, and humiliation. Well, if that's not a great pep talk, I don't know what is. But hey, this is war after all. The war of art. And if you want somewhere to keep track of your book notes and the actions you want to take from each book, then be sure to check out my video on how I organise mine over here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.